Hey guys, welcome to another video. And in this video, I want to talk about what we can learn about faith and perseverance from listening to the song Up by Forrest Frank and Connor Price. In life, it gets so easy for us to get bogged down and caught up in all the bad things that are happening. Whether it's we lost a job, whether we're in school and classes are getting hard, whether we feel like no girls will ever want to date us, it gets easy for us to get so caught up in the present moment, in the present struggles that we're going through, that we tend to forget that it's only for a season of life and it's not forever. It's just this one point, this temporary point in life. And the song Up, the reason I love that song so much is because they talk about how just being down at one point and then all of a sudden you're up again. And because in my life there have been so many things that have happened where I felt like I was down for a minute, but what I didn't realize is the minute that you're back up again, you almost forget how bad it felt when you were down. Because I actually met up with one of my homies from dental school a few days ago, and we were just reminiscing. We were talking about all the good times from dental school, and it made me just think. And I told him, I was like, I remember when we were in dental school, yeah, of course, there were good times, but there were also really stressful times. There were really difficult times as well. But it's crazy how even when we look back on those times, they don't seem as stressful. It's almost like some of those stressful moments I can look back and laugh. But of course, in the moment, I was doing anything but laughing. Of course, when, you're struggling in classes, you're, going through clinic, you're doing all of these things, when you're trying to graduate and get your requirements done, it's super stressful at the time when you're going through it. But of course, after you get it done, you can look back and laugh and say, man, it's crazy that at one point I didn't think I would get this all done, because we know that as long as we continue to show up day after day after day, things are going to work out. And I had this one faculty member who had told me that during my first year of school. He said, school is going to be really hard and it's going to knock you down multiple times. But if you keep showing up every day, if you keep going, if you never give up on yourself, eventually it's going to work out. And of course, I heard him out in the moment when he was saying these things. But as things got really difficult, it was harder and harder for me to believe that. And of course, now as I look back, I realize that he's right. And that truly is a metaphor for life as well, that life is going to get difficult. It's inevitable that we're going to have bad days. We're going to have stressful times. We're going to have days that we feel like just giving up at whatever it is that we're doing. But as long as we continue to get back up and we continue to show up for ourselves, at one point we're going to look back on that day and say, man, that was really stressful, but I'm super glad that I stuck through with it because now I'm on the other side. And so even when I was single, there were so many instances where you go on a date and things don't work out, and then you go on another date and things don't work out, or a girl might be interested in you but you're not really interested in her, and it gets easy to start to think at that point in time, maybe I'm just going to be single forever. Maybe this whole relationship thing, this whole marriage thing isn't for me. But now that I'm married, it's like I can look back and go, oh, that's crazy. I was overreacting. Even being in high school and college and all these things and having friends who are in relationships and you're the one who's always single. And you start to look at them and go, oh, well, that's awesome. They have a relationship, but maybe that's just not the path for me. And as more time has gone on, once I even started dating the woman who's my wife now, once we started dating, it made me look back on those times and go, man, it's crazy to think that at one point when I was down and I was single, I thought that was going to be my whole life, when really it was just that particular moment in time. And that's why it's important to not allow yourself to get so caught up in where you are in the moment, because ultimately God knows what's going to happen. in your life. And it's important that we trust God with our lives and we stop trying to put our timeline on God's schedule, because at the end of the day, everything is going to happen for you when it's meant to. So some people, for example, end up meeting their wives when they're 17, 21, 24, and that's great. But other people end up meeting their wives when they're 34, when they're 37, and that's great too. And other people, God wants them to be single for a specific reason so that he can use them in a specific way. And that's beautiful as well. And once we get to that point of not thinking that the way that someone else's life is the way that my life has to be, things get so much better. Things get so much easier. You stop feeling that anxiety. You stop feeling that depression because you learn to trust that God, at the end of the day, everything is going to work out according to his will and according to his timeline. And so it's just such an amazing song because I love how they talk about, just over and over again, they say, I was down, but now I'm up. And the important part of that song too is it's important to not get so caught up in, the timeline of being down, because some people are down for different periods. Some people are down, for a month. Some people are in the feelings for, a few days. Some people are going through a rough patch for years and years. But that's okay, because eventually at the end of that time, they're going to be up. Because for me, for example, I was pretty much single my whole life. Essentially, there was one girl that I was kind of seeing, kind of dating, but in like middle school, in like 7th grade, so that's why I don't really count that. But essentially, I was going on dates and things like that. But essentially, up until I met my wife, I was single. There were different girls that I was talking to and all that stuff, but it never turned into anything official. And so essentially, I could look at that and go, man, I was single up until I was like 26, 27 years old. But at the end of the day, now that I'm up, it's like, okay, well, I was quote unquote down for that specific point of time, but that even that didn't last forever. I was in school, I was in, college, I did a post-bac program, I was in dental school. I was just struggling my way through all of that, feeling like I was just down because my grades weren't exactly where I wanted them to be. But I might have felt like I was down, but it was only that specific point in time. And now that I've graduated, I can look back and go, man, that's crazy, because now that I'm up, it's funny how you look back on those times like, oh man, it was actually just a period of time. And so even if anyone is down right now financially, I know it's a really stressful time. We had our wedding and it was so expensive that, my credit score isn't where I'd like it to be, but I just have to trust the process that even though we have credit cards to pay off and these things, I have to trust that this is just a specific season also. And so just like how we go through different seasons of life where sometimes one thing is a struggle, sometimes another thing is a struggle. And we just have to trust that, okay, I made it through this struggle so I can make it through another one. And as long as we continue to trust God, as long as we continue to have faith that he will help us to get from point A to point B, then we just know that we just have to stay the course. As long as I'm working hard, as long as I'm learning to be a good steward of my money as well, as long as we're doing these things and we're keeping the faith, we're staying faithful, we're trusting God, we're keeping our eyes on him, then ultimately we have nothing to be concerned about, because we understand that this is all just a particular moment in time and that everything will be okay. And so for anybody who needed this message, for anybody who hasn't heard this song yet, I hope you guys will give it a listen. The song is called Up by Forrest Frank and Connor Price. And I hope that you guys listen to more Forrest Frank's music as well if you guys haven't. I'm probably going to do a ton of reviews on the channel just about different songs of his. And yeah, you guys, I hope that this video blesses you guys. I hope that you guys are having a good day. And if you guys like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll talk to all of you guys in the next video.